Scott Simpson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. It's a pleasure to take a call in this Hurunui Kaikōura Earthquake Recovery Bill first reading. Sir, I've got the pleasure of chairing the Local Government Environment Select Committee that has been over the last 24 hours or so doing, I think, very diligent work on the second piece of legislation, of which this piece of legislation is the third in a suite of legislative initiatives that the Parliament this week has been considering on behalf of the people, the citizens, the communities of Kaikōura and the Hurunui. Measured but quick, prompt response in need of the disaster that has occurred there some 14 days ago. And sir, the trick, I guess, that we as legislators have to address in terms of the bill that's before us immediately is exactly as the Honourable David Cunliffe has addressed in his contribution to the Parliament this afternoon, and that is about ensuring that the constitutional protocols and securities and proper regulations that go with the primacy of this House in its statute-making authority are maintained at a time of emergency, but at the same time trying to balance that propriety against the need for urgent, prompt and swift action at a time when pragmatic decisions need to be made. And so this bill seeks to attempt to do that, and I think that the mechanism that has been provided to us in the bill provides a series of appropriate safeguards, but at the same time ensuring that that swift, prompt and pragmatic response by us as parliamentarians can occur to ensure that recovery in the region occurs with the least amount of fuss or inhibitors being put in front of that recovery as is possible. Sir, the Select Committee is required to report this bill back next Tuesday, and so it will be appropriate for the Select Committee to approach, as we did with the earlier piece of legislation this week, a number of targeted stakeholders and submitters, and we agreed in Select Committee this morning in principle to do just that, and so we'll be attempting to do that absolutely as soon as this first reading is complete. We hope to meet as a committee on Monday to hear from submitters and to go over the detail of the legislation. But I think that if the work of the committee over the last 24 hours is anything to go by, I think that we can be assured that the goodwill and cross-party collaboration that has occurred in the last few days will be maintained in this piece of legislation, to ensure that, in fact, we do maintain those constitutional backstops and checks and balances, whilst at the same time achieving the outcomes that we seek to do on behalf of the people and citizens and communities of Hurunui and Kaikōura. So on that brief note, sir, I'm looking forward to participating with my colleagues on the committee as this process unfolds, and to working with advisors who I might also say have been working extraordinarily hard over the last few days to prepare us with good advice, sound advice and very, very good direction. So I commend this bill to the House, sir.
Jan
Mr.
Logan.
Speaker.